So I think the biggest secret that's not out yet, that everyone seems to know, what is the Parliamentarian going to do with Plan C? Seems even the Democrat senators know what the Parliamentarian is going to do with Plan C, and that is
Deny it.
Deny it. Now, some Democrats are already speaking publicly about overruling the Senate Parliamentarian, Elizabeth McDonough, who has not ruled yet, but we know what's going to happen.
I figured. I said this too.
Now, she's expected very shortly to rule on whether the Democrats' third immigration proposal, which is the parole for those who were here before January 1st, 2011, and returning over 400,000 unused green cards to the visa waiting list, which would substantially reduce the huge backlogs of people waiting for their green cards. Most people who have been watching this, and from what I have been reading, so I've been watching, and it appears that Elizabeth McDonough, although she has not ruled yet, we are not optimistic that she will say that Plan C. That's just a random human being on Facebook. Why would you? Oh, that was Elizabeth McDonough calling us.
She's calling you.
No, that's not what I was talking about, Jill. So somebody was just randomly calling me.
Elizabeth is calling you.
Maybe it was Elizabeth McDonough. Most people believe that it's going to be turned down. Now, in the past, most Democrats have said overruling the Parliamentarian, no, they're not going to do it. Now, there is momentum building for the Senate Democrats to overrule the Parliamentarian and put in maybe Plan A, maybe Plan B, maybe Plan C, maybe all three plans. Who knows?
Wow.
Now, for them to overrule the Parliamentarian, they need all 50 Democrats. There's 48 Democrats, 2 who caucus with the Democrats who are unaffiliated, all 50, plus Kamala Harris to break a tie. Then Plan A, B, or C, or maybe Plan D will pass as part of the budget resolution. Then the Republicans are going to say you did not follow the rules. And then it is a simple majority to determine what the rules are. So then there would be a second vote. 50 Democrats, Kamala Harris breaking the tie, and now they have legally put in Plan A, B, C, or perhaps even a Plan D
why didn't they do that
into
in the
the
first
budget
place?
resolution, because not every Democrat wants to overturn the Parliamentarian. Now, Senate Majority Whip Richard Durbin, a longtime proponent of immigration reform, said he would support, he has come out publicly, he said he would support overruling the Parliamentarian if she rules against their latest proposal. He said, I'd vote for that. I hope it doesn't come to that. Now, it has been considered a long shot, but now many Democrats, including Durbin, say that it is possible that it's going to happen. And the reason why it's possible it's going to happen is there are a lot of Democrats, both in the Senate, in the House, as well as people just in the party who have been fighting for immigration reform for over 20 years. The last time there was a major law change that helped, not hurt, helped immigrants was when Bill Clinton was the president of the United States, when they extended Section 245I, and that allowed millions and millions of immigrants who otherwise would not have been eligible to adjust their status to do so by paying a penalty fee of $1,000. That was the last time a law passed that actually helped people. Now, disregarding the Parliamentarian's decision would require at a minimum the support of, as I said, all 48 Democrats, the 2 independents. Now, Richard Durbin, who said he would vote in favor of scrapping whatever the Parliamentarian said, he's responsible for actually getting all of the Democrats to vote in favor. He's the one who keeps track of the Democratic votes. And he says he doesn't know if all 50 would vote, but his gut instinct is that it is a very close call that all 50 Democrats plus Kamala Harris, should the Parliamentarian overrule and say that Plan C should not be part of a budget process, they believe that there is a close shot, according to Richard Durbin, who is in charge of counting Democratic votes in the Senate. It is a close call that they will be able to overrule the Parliamentarian. Senator Alex Padilla, a Democrat of California, he's on record saying, whatever it takes to get this done. For Democrats as a whole, I think as time goes on, as negotiations continue, it's increasingly clear how important and urgent this is. Senator Robert Menendez, also on record, says that he's leaving all options open on a pathway to citizenship in terms of overruling the Parliamentarian. I hope it will not come to that, and I'll wait for her final decision. Representative Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, Democrat in New York, is on record saying the Democrats have a trifecta. We have the House, we have the Senate, we have the presidency, and if we want to do it, we will.
Ooh.
Now, many of these advocates say that the deportation protection is not enough. They want a pathway and amnesty. So if you're going to overrule the Parliamentarian, they want it all. Right. They want Plan A, Plan B, and Plan C. Now, Democrats warn that any attempt to overrule the Parliamentarian obviously is going to be very complicated. Even if all the Democrats were to agree to ignore her decision, Durbin indicated it's not yet known whether Republicans would be able to strike the provisions with a simple majority by picking off a single Democrat. So in other words, every time there has to be a vote to strike something off of the bill, because the Republicans can now say, I want to make a vote to strike something off of the bill. If all 50 Republicans say they want to strike it and they get one Democrat to come over, then it would come off of the bill. So if it actually happens, you're going to see the Democrats approve it, and then you're going to see motions by Republicans to strike sentence by sentence things out of the bill and hopefully pick off a Democrat. So it could get complicated, but I think there is a possibility it could happen.
Wow.
You know, the key is Senator Manchin in West Virginia.
Yeah.
He has to basically be, I don't want to say bribed.
Because isn't he the one who said he would do it if the Parliamentarians agreed to it?
Right, but he would not if he wouldn't.
Right.
But everything in politics is horse trading.
So bribing. If they give him something, something.
So they got to give him something.
He looks like he could get bribed.
Yeah, well, not bribed, literally bribed. But in other words, the bribe would be, we're going to give you something that you never thought you would be able to get for West Virginia. In return for
your vote.
That
is bribing, isn't it?
Well, that's called politics. Bribing would be, here's $1 million, vote for it. Meanwhile, Facebook was sued today for $150 billion.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, it's no longer Facebook, by the way. They're called Meta. And they were sued for inciting violence against the Muslim ethnic group, now I can't pronounce it. I apologize. I was pronouncing it fine before, right? The Rohingyas.
Yes.
Which is a Muslim group in Myanmar. And lawyers filed a class action lawsuit Monday in California against Meta, saying that Facebook's arrival in Myanmar helped spread hate speech, misinformation, incitement to violence that amounted to a substantial cause and eventual perpetuation of the Rohingya genocide. What's with us reading today?
I know, right? Provoke.
Yes. Now, Facebook said in a statement Tuesday, it's appalled by the crimes committed against the Rohingya people in Myanmar and has built a team of Burmese speakers and invested in technology to take action. However, the Rohingyas, just for fact-based, they're a Muslim ethnic group. They were forced to flee persecution and violence in Myanmar, started in 2017. An estimated 1 million Rohingyas are now living in refugee camps in neighboring Bangladesh. 10,000 have ended up in the United States. In 2018, UN human rights experts are investigating attacks against the Rohingya, said Facebook had played a substantial role in spreading hate speech. More than 10,000 Rohingyas have been killed. More than 150,000 were subject to physical violence. The lawsuit says Facebook's algorithms amplified hate speech against the Rohingya people, and the company didn't spend enough money to hire moderators and fact-checkers who spoke the local languages or understood the political situation. Now, Facebook arrived in Myanmar in 2011, arranged for millions of residents to access the internet for the first time, according to the lawsuit filed in California Superior Court. The lawsuit says the company did little to warn people about the dangers of online misinformation, did little to tell people about fake accounts, tactics employed by the military in its campaign against the Rohingyas. All I can say is this: if they are successful, then there's going to be a lot of copycat lawsuits.
I was about to say, there's going to be a lot.
And Facebook will no longer be Facebook.
What do you think they're going to do? They're probably going to they'll probably settle silently or something, right?
I don't know. I think Facebook's going to fight to the bitter end.
They're going to fight?
Yes, Zuckerberg's angry. Look at that one.
Look at it.
Yeah. So Pope Francis, he visited the Greek island of Lesbos on Sunday, speaking to several dozen migrants in a white tent. Pope Francis said that the progress on immigration has been terribly absent, adding that it was an illusion to believe society could protect itself without offering help to those who knock at our door. Francis said, human lives, real people, are at stake. The Pope thanked the residents of Lesbos for welcoming refugees and walked along the streets of the camp lined with storage containers that house the refugees. He said, please let us stop this shipwreck of civilization. He added that we are living in the era of barbed wire and walls, but COVID-19 pandemic has shown that we are all in the same boat. And do you know that there was a swarm of 40 earthquakes in the northwest of the United States?
What? No.
A swarm of them. That's
a swarm.
A swarm. That is how
I've never heard of a swarm
of earthquakes. 40 earthquakes in the northwest in the last 24 hours, between 3.5 to 5.8. You know what that means when there's 40 tremors beforehand?
It's going to be a big one.
That means the big one's coming.
Yeah.
You know, the big one. The big one, to my belief, I'm not an earthquake person. Jill's yelling in my ear, keep reading.
Right, I heard it.
Keep reading. That's not true. I believe it's true, though. My own belief. The series of quakes, and by the way, if it happens...
of course. We know, Brad. We know.
Then I win. The series of quakes, which began early Tuesday morning and continued into today, were all clustered around 250 miles west of the coast town of Newport, Oregon. The fault line responsible for the quakes is the Blanco fracture zone. And what has been most impressive about this week's quakes is the swarm has included at least 9 tremors reaching a magnitude between 5 and 5.8, with the majority occurring at a shallow depth of only 10 kilometers. Fortunately, nothing this week has triggered a tsunami. However, the activity is heightened concern level for some, as the region is among the most earthquake-prone areas in North America. Though the epicenter of this week's swarm of quakes is among the most seismically active in North America, it rarely leads to destructive quakes. At least that's what they claim.
Rarely.
I would not.
I mean, because five isn't really too bad.
I know, but when you have 40,
I slept through a good 7.
When you have 40 in a 24-hour period, that means the ground's moving underneath.
Yeah,
ground's moving a lot underneath.
They said that it rarely means it's going to be a big one. I'm hoping that it's not.
I hope it's not.
Yeah, because I have family in Oregon. I have family all over the West Coast. So I grew up in earthquakes. I know all about them. So I'm hoping that it doesn't.
So here's some good hope for you.
Okay.
According to seismologist Dr. Lucy Jones, there have been more than 133 quakes of more than 5 magnitude on the Blanco fracture zone since 1980, and they have never been followed by something on land that was massive.
Good.
By the way, we are now at the end of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And being at the end of 2021, we always have the top lists of the year.
Yes.
And I have in my hand, Jonathan, Yo-Yo Elias, the list of the top most searched words on Google in 2021. Coming out on top, number 1, Brad Show Live. The number 1 most searched term on Google. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. No, the most searched term, that's absolutely fake news. The most searched term last year was, predictably, coronavirus. Okay. Right. Also, the Australia versus India Men's World Cup cricket match.
What?
And India's match against England. Also.
What?
Also one of the most searched. You want to know why?
I never searched at it.
You want to know why?
Why?
Because you are American-centric now. There are hundreds and hundreds of millions of people living on the Indian continent who love cricket.
Okay.
And there's a lot more of them than there are Americans.
So maybe we should start pushing the show to India a lot more.
Yes. In fact, the T20 Cricket World Cup and the Indian Premier League Cricket Championships were also on the top 10 worldwide trending. The NBA also ranked there and topped the U.S. trending search list with the Euro 2021 and Copa America soccer tournaments or football tournaments. Sports topics accounted for 8 of the 10 global trending searches. The other 2 was rapper DMX.
That's for this year.
Yes. And the breakout show, the Korean
Squid Game. I knew it.
Yes.
That had to have been sheesh.
Now, in the United States, what also topped just in the U.S., but not the world, Mega Millions.
Oh.
People are buying a lot of lottery tickets home for the COVID. And the NBA, yes, I said that, Jill. So Omicron, which can be pronounced both Omicron and Omicron, I know it sounds like the same to me, according to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, was first identified in South Africa on November 24th. And although it has not been around a long time, the U.S. captioning company identifies that word as the most challenging for anyone to pronounce in the year 2021. It's Chugi and Omicron. What is a Chugi?
What is Chugi?
Can you Google? I don't even know what that means. Is that a hump day word, Chugi?
Let's see.
Why do I think that's a hump day word? CH. Can you put that back up? What's a Chugi?
So Chugi is...
I don't even know what that is.
An American... It's an American internet neologism. What is that?
Nihilism. Nihilism.
Coined in 2013, so it's a new word.
Somebody when you're obsessed with something.
Oh gosh.
Chuggy. It sounds like just like a fat person to me.
Yeah.
You're a chunky person. You're a chunky person. I don't know. Chuggy. All right, Chuggy. Well, that and Omicron, which I can't even pronounce.
I know Omicron because of Greek letters.
Are the 2 most mispronounced words of the year.
Yeah. Omicron. They're calling it Omarion.
and that is the news of the day. Let's get some camels out.
Who let the camels out?
We have some camels somewhere.
Hump day. It's hump day.
It is hump day.
It's hump day.
I don't know whose voice that is. I was just thinking that, but they do a really good. Whoever we got to do that.
Right.
Whoever we got to do that.
Might be Jay Rhymes.
Whoever we got to do that has the best camel voice I've ever heard in my life.
It does sound like.
Yes. You know who did it? Actually, David Diamante.
Really?
Yes. You know who he is?
No.
You don't know who David Diamante is?
I'll say it again.
Famous announcer.
Oh.
Very famous announcer.
For?
Boxing.
Oh, boxing.
Yes.
Are you ready to rumble?
One of those guys. One of those guys. He did it.
Yeah.
All right. So Austria, like much of the world, is grappling with how to convince reluctant citizens to get vaccinated. So Fun Palace, a brothel in Vienna, has come up with a very creative way to get people vaccinated. You can get humped and jabbed at the same exact time, Jonathan.
Oh, wow.
Is that something you would be interested in?
I'm
the brothel has announced in November it would be giving out vouchers, which is $46, the cost of entry into the brothel, to anyone who gets vaccinated at the pop-up clinic right outside the brothel.
Wow.
Speaking with NBC News in a phone interview, Christopher Lilich, Fun Palace's chief executive, said the initiative started as a clever marketing idea, but has since become an absolutely serious operation.
I mean, any way to get the people vaccinated.
Yeah, their new logo, get jabbed outside and get humped inside.
Right. Sheesh.
Do you think in America, where would there be legal brothels? I guess in Las Vegas or Nevada.
Would it be legal, though?
I think one of the counties in Nevada is legal. If
Wow.
they started doing that there, you'd think they would get an increase in vaccinations.
I definitely think so, especially out there because you get so many visitors.
Yeah. I'm going to skip the second one, Jonathan.
Good,
We're going to save that for another day.
All right.
Meanwhile, Kirsten Songer, who works at a Hooters restaurant in South Carolina, she posted a video on TikTok earlier this year divulging how much she made in tips for each shift in 1 week, which she said she gets on top of her $2.13 per hour wage. How is that even possible?
I told you guys this. I told y'all, or maybe I was talking to my family about this.
When
I was going to Howard University in DC, I was a server. And on the East Coast, this is not on the West Coast because I was a server out on the West Coast as well. But on the East Coast, when you are a server, you get paid like $2 to $3 an hour, and then you get your tips. I don't know how that's legal because on the West Coast, you get minimum wage plus your tips.
Well, according to this, with all of her tips and her hourly wages, she made a total of $74,143.
That's wild.
Just wearing, I guess, a very tight top.
And little booty shorts.
And serving chicken wings.
Yeah.
And beer.
That's wild.
In the video, she said she bartended for she was a bartender. She bartended for 7 hours on Sunday, made $408 in tips. On Monday, she said she worked a double shift, made $300 for the first shift, but that night she only made $50 in the evening. So, pays to work at Hooters.
Yeah.
And Cardi B, the Grammy Award-winning hip-hop superstar, has been tapped by Playboy as its first creative director, and the appointment was announced Thursday. According to the announcement, Cardi B will provide artistic direction across co-branded fashion and sexual awareness merchandise that is being marketed by Playboy.
Cardi B is winning. Let me tell you, Cardi B is killing the game.
Do you think it's because she worked as a stripper before?
I mean, yeah, that's part of the reason. Yeah. You know, it makes sense. Like, it's all about branding. You know, it makes sense. Now, you're not going to have somebody out there like Halle Berry, you know, being the new face of Playboy, you know? So it makes sense for Cardi B. And she's smart. She's a smart businesswoman. She has creative ideas. You know, so I'm excited to see where this goes.
And lastly, Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias, according to a study published by Match on November 9th, 81% of single men said sex is now less important than it was for them pre-pandemic times. I will have to say that Match did not interview me. Had they interviewed me, I think the percentage would have went from 81% to 80%.
To 80%? You would be a whole 1%?
I would be a whole 1%. That's how positive I would be in my answer. Mm-hmm. Now, according to Match's chief scientific advisors and sex researchers, Helen Fisher, PhD, the statistic is thanks to a perfect storm of biological and societal reasons brought on by COVID. All right, this is their explanation. 4 out of 5 men say sex is less important to them now.
4 out of 5.
That's 81%.
That's a lot.
But they didn't ask the right men.
I'm be wondering, how do they get these?
Where do they find these people? Where do they find these men who don't care about sex?
Right.
Well, according to the researcher, you can't shut a planet and expect people's physiology to remain the same. We all suffered. Dopamine plummeted, testosterone plummeted, sex is less important. See, I would look at it completely different.
I would think that it's a lot more because you're
stuck
in the house.
You're stuck in the house. You're not busy anymore.
Right, you can't do nothing else. There's so many pandemic babies out there.
Didn't we even read like a few months ago that Pornhub or whatever, PornTube or whatever, what's it called? What's the
Pornhub?
Pornhub. Pornhub had the most visitors ever in 1 month.
So
during the pandemic.
But that's not sex. That's
people thinking about sex.
But but this is saying actual sex with their partner. So when you're on Pornhub.
No, they're saying it's less important. Not saying you had less sex. They said sex is less important. But if you're going on to Pornhub, then sex is important to you, no? Or that's completely different?
Masturbation is not sex. To me.
Well, the more sex you have, the more you want it. The less sex you have, the less you want it. I'm not going to get into that conversation with you, Jonathan.
Listen, you asked. You asked.
I'm not. Yes, that's right. Now, it's like a potato chip, Jonathan. Right? You can't just have one potato chip.
Yeah, right.
Right? So these singles were having less sex and were under extreme stress. So if you're not having a potato chip, you don't know what you're missing.
All I know is
that's the theory.
All I know is Willie L. Williams said, "Not for me."
What's not for him?
I don't think this goes for him either.
What?
Exactly what you were saying.
Oh, right. If they interviewed me, Yo-Yo, and Willie L. Williams, the percentage would have went down to like 75%.
Right. Jessica Leamy said those men got paid to say no.
I don't know where they found these. They must have went. You know where they must have went to the graveyard or something to interview these men. Maybe the old age home. Thanks for watching. For more Brad Show Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.